We're moving into 2023 and we're about to have an onslaught of new sets, a ton of new cards coming our way. I want to take one more look back at Brothers War. The Commander Precons came with some non-reprint cards that I think you probably missed in all of the noise of what happened at the end of last year. Let's take a look at non-reprint cards that were newly printed into the Brothers War Commander product. The video starts right now.
Highest level of gratitude to our patrons who power the channel through Patreon. Check out the Patreon link in the description to learn about monthly giveaways, VIP Discord access, and even our official playmat.
Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. I'm Marty McFly. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We're going to jump right into it with Disciple of Kalis Nin, a white and 4 other for a 3/4 human wizard. It ETBs, and starting with you, each player chooses up to 5 permanents they control. So that'll be from among your lands, your enchantments, your artifacts, and your creatures. All permanents other than Disciple of Kalis Nin that weren't chosen this way phase out, and then permanents cannot phase in. So your opponents are going to have to remove Disciple so that permanents can phase in, which will give them all of their stuff back. This is one I'm just personally excited to brew with. I really think that there's a lot of potential here for some very, very crazy shenanigans, some tomfoolery, if you will, because you're going to have experience with what is best to choose. Should you choose 5 creatures and hope that your opponents want lands, and then you have maybe a sack outlet for your Disciple on a creature so that you can control when everything starts to phase back in? I just think that this is a very unique design that not a lot of people saw because of how crazy the end of the year got. Wire Surgeons is a human artificer 6/5 with fear, which means it can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or black creatures. 2 black and 4 other for this creature. And it says each artifact creature in your graveyard has Encore. Its Encore cost is equal to its mana cost. Now Encore is you exile it and pay its mana cost, then for each opponent you create a token copy that has to attack that opponent if able. They all gain haste, so they can attack regardless, and then sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step, only at sorcery speed. You'll notice that a lot of the cards in this set are artifact based. This is really going to juice up your artifact decks, so that's what you want to explore these Brothers War Precons for. Any artifact creature based deck that has black in the colors, I think is going to want to take a look at Wire Surgeons and see if you can get some extra value out of your artifact creatures after they've already died. Blast Furnace Hellkite is a crazy 5/5 dragon for 9 mana, but it has Artifact Offering, which says you can cast this spell as though it had flash by sacrificing an artifact and paying the difference in mana costs between this and the sacrificed artifact. Mana cost includes color. It's got flying and double strike, and it says creatures attacking your opponents have double strike. So you could cast this when your opponent is making a huge swing at another opponent, and you just want to give everything that's attacking double strike and kind of catch the opponent that's being attacked off guard. Obviously, you can also use it for yourself. Swing a giant swing. Sack a 5 mana artifact. This is suddenly a 4 mana 5/5 that says attacking your opponents. All of those creatures are now going to have double strike at instant speed. This could really work in a lot of attacking decks, I think. There's quite a few, creature monster-based decks that will also run the occasional 4 mana 5 mana artifact that could really reduce this cost and help you cast it as an interesting combat trick. Another red card that we got is Sardian Avenger. It's a 1/1 for 2 Goblin Warrior, First Strike and Trample. First Strike and Trample, I really love that combination of abilities, especially when we grow the power of this creature, and that's what Sardian Avenger does. Whenever it attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of artifacts your opponents control. So it's like this weird dockside extortionist kind of creature, but it has to do with attacking and not giving you a bunch of treasure tokens. Then it says whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, Sardian Avenger deals 1 damage to that player. Now, if you're not aware, when you sacrifice a token like a treasure token, that does go to the graveyard technically before it just kind of dissipates. Now, Sardian Avenger having all of this attacking power, First Strike and Trample, doesn't really matter that it's got that 1 toughness as long as there are enough artifacts on your opponent's side of the field to make it that like 5/1, 6/1 that we want to see out of this, so it's attacking over anything, and because First Strike, it's going to be able to survive. Root Path Purifier is another one we saw. You'll notice this one's got the new frame, the modern frame, because this was a green card. Neither of the two precons have green in their colors, and so the only green cards that we got were cards that you could pull in other boosters, not in the precons themselves. Root Path Purifier, I think a lot of people actually talked about this card, but if you were only paying attention to the precons, you might have missed it. It's a 3/4 for 4, and it says lands you control and land cards in your library are basic. So anything that says search up a basic plains, a basic forest, etc., Root Path is going to let you find any land that qualifies for the single word plains forest, because lands you control and land cards in your library are basic. There's a lot of cool tricks that you can do with Root Path Purifier. Very unique design, giving every land basic in your entire library. Staff of Titania is kind of a green adjacent card, 2 mana for an equipment. It says equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is the number of forests you control. Really want to play this in a mono green deck, and whenever equipped creature attacks, you create a 1/1 green forest dryad land creature token. So there's a lot to unpack with that token. Number one, it's going to grow the +X/+X because it does count as a forest. You can't tap it for mana the turn it comes in because it is technically a creature, but unlike a regular creature that's not a mana dork, you can tap it for green mana because it will count as a forest land. If anything's checking for forests, it'll count as a 1/1 green creature. If anything's looking for 1/1s or green creatures or just creature tokens, I think that this one is very interesting for monocolored decks. I'm really happy that they've provided a piece here and there over the last year for monocolored decks to get a little bit of juice, not be left out in the scuffle of let's make all the commanders 3, 4, and 5 color. The Archimandrite's a new 3-color commander that we got outside the precons, and it's basically Advisor, Artificer, Monk, Tribal. It's a commander for a tribe that doesn't really have a lot of commander options. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain X life, where X is the number of cards in your hand -4. And whenever you gain life, each advisor, artificer, and monk you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. So you've got some attacking power there. Make sure your line is able to attack without tapping so you can still protect yourself, and they're going to get some more power. Plus, Archimandrite's going to allow you to tap 3 untapped advisors, artificers, and or monks to draw a card. Now look, Archimandrite counts as an advisor, so you just need to get 2 other advisors, artificers, and monks onto the battlefield. You can attack without tapping, and then on your opponent's EOT, tap 3, draw a card, my turn, untap, draw a card, and you're in the money. You're making some serious card draw happen with this Jeskai commander. That is a tribe commander for a tribe that doesn't have a commander. Hexavus is a 6 mana sort of play on older creatures that are similar in this cycle. It's a flying construct. It enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 1, remove a +1/+1 counter from it, and put a flying counter on another target creature. That's my favorite part of this. We can give a creature flying for a single mana once we've gotten Hexavus onto the battlefield. You don't necessarily have to cast this for 6. There's lots of ways to recur creatures onto the battlefield, lots of ways to get artifacts snuck onto the battlefield for cheap, or you just pay the 6 straight up and you're able to pass out flying to all of your big creatures. Or you can pay 1, remove a counter from another creature you control to put a +1/+1 counter back on Hexavus. So if that flying thing is going to die, you can sort of suck the counter back to Hexavus, so you have the ability to use it on other stuff if you want. Spread out the counters, give it a lot of stuff flying, pull them back to Hexavus if you need to. I think it's a cool build on a construct creature. Kayla's Music Box is a 2 mana legendary artifact, and it's a little bit of card advantage for the color white. You pay a white, tap it, look at the top card of your library, then you exile it face down, meaning you can look at it, but your opponents aren't able to see what it is. Then you can tap Kayla's Music Box, and until end of turn, you can play cards you own exiled with Kayla's Music Box. So you just sort of build up value over the course of the game. Every turn this is out, you pay 1, you tap it on their EOT, look at the top card, you've got it exiled face down. You got this little pile of cards off to the side, this alternate hand, and in response to Kayla's Music Box maybe being removed, if it's untapped, you can tap it so that you gain the ability to play those cards that are exiled with the Music Box, at least until the end of that turn. And if it doesn't get removed, you've just got this alternate hand that's sort of growing throughout the course of the game, and you're able to access those cards with the Music Box. Scavenged Brawler is a really cool card that has to do with graveyard synergy. This one was real big in the Mishra build. 6 mana for a 4/4 flying, vigilance, trampling, lifelink creature. That's a lot, but you pay 5 and exile it from your graveyard, which I think is the cooler effect here. You get to choose target creature. You put 4 +1/+1 counters on it, a flying counter, a vigilance counter, a trample counter, and a lifelink counter, only at sorcery speed, but that is a lot all dumped onto one creature. Then you combine this card with something like the Ozolith, so if that thing dies, you've got those +1 counters, the flying counter, vigi counter, trample counter, lifelink counter on the Ozolith, able to be used again. Spread them out to another creature and get another ridiculously powerful thing built. Scavenge Brawler is really cool. It's fine return. You can play it for the 6 mana construct and have the 4/4. It's basically like having a creature that you don't care if it dies, and that's a pretty cool, powerful position to be in. Then you can just exile it and get the extra value out of it. Also have this really big, dumb 7 mana Wondrous Crucible artifact, but I love how this plays. Permanents you control have Ward 2 straight up, so anybody that targets them with anything is going to have to pay an additional 2 mana, or that effect's going to get canceled out. And then at the beginning of your end step, so you do get this effect the turn it comes into play, which is kind of helping the 7 mana cost on this be a little more worth it. You mill 2 cards, then you exile a non-land card at random from your graveyard, you copy it, and you can cast the copy without paying its mana cost. So this is one where if it goes around the table even once, maybe even twice, then you've gotten these 3 free things for this 7 mana investment, and you've got a bunch of stuff all protected up with that Ward 2 ability. I think it's a pretty cool card. It's really 7 mana is so heavy to play, to spend for an effect like this, but I do think that in the right deck, especially one that can cheat it in, Wondrous Crucible could be just tremendous value over time for your deck. The precons in this set were mostly packed with cool reprints in that retro frame, but we did get some interesting new cards that I wasn't even fully aware of because of how much was happening at the end of last year. If you know any of these cards and you've played with them, you know how they play, you got any strategies for them, let us know down in the comments. Otherwise, if you like this video, maybe go watch another one of our videos and see if you like our channel. And then if this is your second video of ours and you liked it, hit that subscribe button. It's free and it helps us out so much. And if you want to get involved with the channel on a deeper level, go check out our Patreon. We've got a lot of cool rewards over there, and hop into our Discord if you want to chat. Other than that, I am tapped out. Here's to 2023 and the continued onslaught of cards.